I always say I never understand why we become champion have to pay for a belt. Keep that shit.
Yeah.
Keep it.
There you go. 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 Bull job. No bull job. Listen. I was at the Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson press conference yesterday. So I'm going to tell you guys what really happened at that press conference. And number two, Keyshawn Davis had such an excellent interview speaking on Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, and these sanctioning bodies. The interview was so good that I'm going to use that interview as the foundation of this entire video. Hit the Tyson bell. So I'm going to talk about what really happened at the press conference, and I'm also going to speak on the sanctioning bodies. And I'm going to give you guys the history of the sanctioning bodies and what the sanctioning bodies, what that really is. And I'm just going to give you a real quick summarization right now. The sanctioning bodies, you have to understand what the word sanction means. And I think that is what people miss. They miss what the sanctioning bodies are because they don't even know what sanction means. All right, hit the Tyson bell. Sanction means to just give someone the permission or the approval for something. All right. So you have the sanctioning bodies, which are organizations that give you the permission or the approval for something. So what they're giving you a permission or approval for are the sanctioning titles. So the sanctioning bodies gives you the permission to call yourself a champion. Hit the Tyson bell. That's essentially what it is. You have to pay to be recognized as the champion. And I'm going to tell you where that came from and why. But let's start with what really happened at the press conference. Look, after being there and being behind the scenes and witnessing all this shit, I don't know who's going to win the fight. And that's the Black Two Sugars. I went from being very certain that Shakur Stevenson wins to thinking about it and saying, oh, this fight is very close, to now being behind the scenes with both Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, being there at the press conference and saying, I have no idea who wins the fight. Let me tell you what I observed, and it's exactly what Keyshawn Davis said. I can echo this point. This is what Keyshawn Davis had to say about Shakur Stevenson.
Bro, Shakur is serious. Like, Shakur go to sleep at night dreaming. Like, Shakur is serious about this shit, bro. Like, for real. I tell Shakur all the time, like, I love how much you love boxing. Like, motherfucker, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's gonna take somebody that just loves it as much as he does to even just go in there and compete with him.
100% what I witnessed. Shakur Stevenson focuses and remembers everything. You said this at this moment, at this time. You look like this at this moment, and here's why. You looked vulnerable here. You looked great there, and here's why. That guy recalls everything. He's so observative. When he has been compared to Floyd Mayweather, that is probably the most comparable aspect. Floyd Mayweather knew everything about you. He dissected his op. And that's before the fight. During the fight, he dissected even further. That is Shakur Stevenson. With my conversations with Shakur, I was not only impressed, but I was thrown back and overwhelmed by how much he concentrated on his ops. And he says he does that with everyone, but when it's time to fight his op, he definitely dives in. And with Teofimo Lopez, he ain't missing shit. And that's the Black Two Sugars. Now, here's what Keyshawn said about Teofimo Lopez.
Teo, I feel like he's in the perfect headspace, though. Like, he's ready. Both of these guys are ready. A lot of the answers that Teo is doing, I just feel like that's just who he is. You know what I'm saying? So
Precisely. This is what makes Teofimo Lopez a very dangerous op for Shakur Stevenson. Teofimo Lopez is very calm. And that's an issue. When Teofimo is calm, secure, and confident, it's up. There's going to be trouble. When he's loose and confident and creative, he's Gordo. He's matured now. Now, when you look at his one loss against Kambosos, he was so emotionally invested in the fight. And he damn sure wanted to knock out Kambosos in the first round, which caused him to have huge vulnerabilities that fight. And even that fight, he got up off his back. He drops Kambosos. He gets a little bit better towards the end of the fight because he relaxed. But when Teofimo Lopez is relaxed, he's creative. He's having a good time out there, and he's very, very hard to beat. That's who I saw at the press conference.
With the one-time heavyweight sensation, Mike Tyson. Mike, what do you see?
Hey, sensational fight. Barbosa's in there fighting. Teofimo's just very sharp. Very sharp fighter.
For a lot of top fighters. Good right hand by Barbosa.
He's certainly looking sharp. I watched him spar him through the ropes.
Oh, the counter shot with the right hand. Excellent.
Now, during the press conference, one major thing that jumped out to me when it came to Shakur Stevenson and his high IQ and him being like a cyborg, right? On how much he observes. He kept looking at the titles. Kept looking at those titles, right? Even in the stare down, he tapped the title. That's what he's going for. He wants everyone to know he's the best. He doesn't just want to be the best. He wants everyone to know he's the best. Now with Teofimo has gotten to a point where he's kind of elevated past that. And this is what I mean. Because of the losses he's taken, and I'm not talking about just in the ring. I'm talking about all the way around. He can give a shit. Teo is now like Neo from the Matrix. I'm going to start calling him Teofimo Lopez. He's at a point now where he has taken the blue pill. Which one was it? No matter what anyone says about him, it really doesn't matter what anyone says about him. All of the shit that goes on social media, all of the things that people want you to concentrate on, all of the things that people find important, he just doesn't find important anymore. He finds it as a very simple thing. Me versus Shakur. I'm going to do my best. He's going to do his best. And I'm going to definitely try to beat him and beat him bad. But that is the most I'm getting out of this. Doing my very best. And I tell you guys, if you try your best, you're winning. You've won. Put yourself up against the most dangerous opposition you can. Believe in yourself. Do your very best. At that point, you find out a lot about your op. You find out a lot about yourself. Hit Tyson Bale. It's about being vulnerable and being revealing and being transparent and being true. That's the only thing Teofimo Lopez is about right now. And that's a dangerous time for any of his ops. So while they're staring each other down, I'm looking at two people with two different psychological paths to their destination. And they're facing each other with two totally different arguments. You have one person saying, I want to take what you have. And another one saying, neither one of us have anything. And none of this is important.
Scheduled for the Ring Magazine.
God gifted. It's my time. God gifted. It's my time. It's my time. I've been waiting on this forever. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Now you gotta prove it. Oh, we gonna see.
The prize is right up here. The prize is right up here.
We stay working. You can't fight for him. I fight for him. You can't fight for you neither. I don't care. I don't need him. I don't need him. He in trouble. belts from a different breed, baby.
Both of them feel like what they possess right now and their psychological paths is going to give them the leverage in the fight. We have to see January 31st. And in looking at that, neither one of them lacks confidence. They both thoroughly believe that their mindset is the best mindset. Going back to what Keyshawn Davis was saying about his observation on both of them, he's absolutely right, making both of them very dangerous on fight night. Hit the Tyson bell. All right, so now let's talk about the sanctioning bodies, okay? Let me give you guys a history lesson on this, and then after this, you can feel however you want about what Terrence Crawford has done and the stance that he made, the boxing revolution. I just want you to be educated on it. Here's what Keyshawn Davis had to say.
I'm gonna speak on myself.
Absolutely.
Because I spoke on this situation before. Yeah. I always said I never understand why we become champion have to pay for a belt. Keep that shit.
Yeah.
Keep it. I'm not gonna work 14, 15 years for me to pay for something I worked for. When I went to the Olympics, did I pay for that damn medal? No. What are we paying for? Like the network's not paying for these belts. Ain't the money coming from the network? Ain't all the money coming from the network? So it's like, what are we paying for belts for? What
exactly? Yeah.
We paying for belts for the sanctioning bodies. Who's behind these sanctioning bodies? People. Oh, so we feeding their families because they created a belt. Cool.
Keyshawn is ultimately right for questioning these things. I think I have some answers, all right? All we need to do is just look at the history. Boxing. Were there titles before the sanctioning bodies, before the alphabet titles? Yeah, there was a title. There were fighters seen as the champion. We know that. We know John L. Sullivan was a champion. We know Jim Jeffries was a champion. We know Jack Johnson was a champion. We know these things. Gene Tunney. We know these guys were champions. How do we know? Because of a publication called the Police Gazette. The Police Gazette was a magazine. All right, now keep this in mind. It was a magazine going back to the 1800s where they covered a lot of the underground stuff. They covered women, sex, crime, sports, gambling, boxing. And it was the Police Gazette who let the world know who was the boxing champion. Hit the Tyson bell. Kind of reminds you of Ring Magazine, doesn't it? But I digress. So it was the Police Gazette until the 1920s, all right? Where, or even before that, a little bit like 1918, some of the 1920s, some around there. The New York State Athletic Commission started to say who they deemed were champion. And then 1921, there was a sanctioning body organization created by 13 representatives of the United States called the NBA, which is now called the WBA, making the WBA the oldest sanctioning body. Used to be called the NBA back in 1921. That sanctioning body, the NBA, started to say, if you fight for our title, you are actually a champion by an organization represented by 13 states. The first fight to be deemed the NBA champion was Jack Dempsey versus Georges Carpenter. Jack Dempsey won the fight, being named NBA champion. And in order to be approved to be called the champion, he had to pay a fee. That's how it started. Now, in the 1960s, I mean, for decades, it was the NBA running everything. They started to see that champion as the champion. The Police Gazette still had their lineal history, right? So you have the NBA and you have the Police Gazette keeping track of the lineal history. Police Gazette start being less popular. Ring Magazine start becoming the Bible of boxing, but they pick up the lineal history. The man who beat the man who beat the man who beat the man. So now you have two parallel things going on. The NBA sanctioning title, and then you have the lineal champion. All right. Now in the 1960s, here comes the WBC. The NBA turns into the WBA. The WBC starts saying, hey, hold on. We have our own rankings that we believe ranks the fighters better than the NBA or the WBA. So fighting for our title would make more sense due to our rankings. And that's when promotion companies start getting involved. Promotion companies start saying, wait, hold on. My fighter is ranked higher in the WBC. I'm going to go for the WBC title because I like that ranking because my fighter is included in that ranking, but a bit higher. So now you have promoters say, no, I like the WBA title because my fight, you get what I'm saying? Now you have promoters, one promoter company caping for the WBA, another promoter company, promotion company caping for the WBC. And now you start that. Both of them sanctioning their titles. Hit Tyson Bell. From then, it goes on and on. WBO, IBF, right? And now you have all these sanctioning bodies with their different lists, promotion companies saying, I like this sanctioning body over this one. Now everybody jockeying for position. Now you have certain fighters who like, listen, I want to be that champion and that champion. I want to unify. I want to be undisputed. You get what I'm saying? But they all are different organizations. So to be sanctioned or approved to be called champion, I got to pay 3% to that organization, 3% to that one, 3% to that one, 3% to that. Now I am more broke. Now the sanctioning bodies say, hold on, we got another one for second best. Now we have another one for third best. We got one to be second best. We have another one to be deemed you're mandatory and over the number one. Now you have all these things. Diamond title, silver title, all these things. Franchise, super. And then the fan base gets confused. Who the hell is the champion? Because the business recognize that these fighters want to be the best at something, even that means second best. They have to pay a fee for that. But what end up happening is the fans get confused, and then the fighters get confused. What am I paying for? And you start hearing fighters come out and whispers and everyone asking these questions. It's just asking questions. What are we really paying for? And then most recently, Terrence Bud Crawford becomes undisputed champion and then say, I ain't gonna pay for shit. Creating this moment now. And there's a lot of people who say, well, that's no fair. He should pay. But the thing is, if he did, we wouldn't be having this moment asking these questions. Was he wrong? Yeah. But that's what a revolution is. So now he has spoken up as the most decorated male fighter in the 4-belt era. And it causes everyone to start asking even more questions. And then he stands there and say, the real champion is the ring champion, the lineal champion. Because at the same time, with all these different sanctioning bodies being created and popping up, there's only one belt that has followed it back from the 1800s and the Police Gazette all the way to now. And it's that belt that is free. Let me know how you feel in comments below. ShowBizz, I'm out.